Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Today we're kicking off an impromptu week special and a new ranking series as we rank the heresy journeys of each and every Primarch. It goes without saying here, spoiler warning to begin, as we are going to be discussing events from across the Horus Heresy. And as always, this is just my opinion. There are no right or wrong answers. Just how we all individually feel about it. So drop your own thoughts and rankings in the comments below. Now, the Primarch's Horus Heresy journeys. What does it mean? What's the criteria? Well, I'm going to try and put aside my personal favoritism as much as possible, and really look at the full dramatic stories of each and every Primarch. Their ups, their downs, from where they began to where they ended. The full tragedy and dramatic scope of their story. Not just their highlights, but their whole journey. The Heresy series of course ran for many years, so it's hard not to remain fixated on the recent Siege of Terror. However, in truth, the Siege of Terror was but the final chapter. The final chapter of a truly vast story. And the earlier installments are just as important. All of the Primarch's journeys are of course amazing in their own way, but they are all each very different too, unique to their nature and situation. It's undoubtedly the hardest ranking I've ever tried to do, and definitely one of those ones I'll no doubt chop and change along the way, and no doubt have different the next time I think about it. And hey, it's only a bit of fun at the end of the day, as always when talking lore. But with all that said, in ranking from the least to the greatest Primarch journey, story, however you want to describe it, beginning with 18, I have Ferrus Manus. Now the death of Ferrus is the ancient story of betrayal at its best. Fulgrim approaching the Gorgon because he had no doubt that his most beloved brother would side with him always, would walk side by side with him into any fire. And for everything else, he may well have done. Yet of course here, he didn't. The Phoenician fatally miscalculated the Gorgons' ironclad love and loyalty for their father, to his dream, and all Fulgrim's words would do would send Ferrus into a rage. That he'd even dare to think Ferrus would turn from the Emperor's light, resulting in the first of their two duels, with Fulgrim knocking Ferrus unconscious to escape. And it would all lead to one of the most infamous moments of the Horus Heresy, the massacre at Istvan, where Ferrus, the chosen leader of the Imperium's task force, would lose his life at the hands of Fulgrim. Again, it's a great story, an event so traumatic it would irrevocably scar the very mindset of the Iron Hands forever. And it was the perfect climax at the start of the heresy that would define it all moving forward. However, the reason it has to land here for me, beginning our ranking, is because it all happens so quickly. Ferrus's tale pretty much entirely told within the novel Fulgrim, and so we don't really get a chance to know Ferrus like we do the other Primarchs. He gets a bad rap for his rashness and temperament being the cause of his own demise. However, if you actually reread it, it's not as bad as it's made out. Yes, Ferrus of course wants to crush the rebellion. He is internally irate, but he has a logical conversation with Vulcan and Corax before the assault is launched. And he is of the belief their reinforcements are just about to reach the system. Completely unaware they are all in truth traitors too. So the stereotypical image he got left with isn't quite accurate to me. And the guy is also an absolute tank, which comes across clear as day. Bigger than even Vulcan, He's an absolute beast of a Primarch. It feels we never really got to quite see at his best. There's been some fantastic pieces on Ferrus after the fact. The great short story of him meeting Vulcan, with the Emperor asking his opinion. The time the Emperor teased that he may well try and bring Ferrus back from the dead somehow. And the apparent apparition of Ferrus conjured by the Emperor within the webway. And then Ferrus's ghost, speaking with Sanguinius before his final fight with Horus Lupercal. So we have had continued development of Ferrus after his death. There's no doubt about it. Showing us how much the Emperor favoured him, how much the Angel missed him, how there was a far more complex character within the Gorgon than is usually spoken of. However, you just can't help feeling it reaffirms how sad it is that we didn't get to see much more of Ferrus before his fate. He was gone before we really got to know him. And so Ferrus's journey has to come in at 18 for me. For the simple fact, he was gone too soon. Moving on to 17, I have Alpharius. Every time we have a ranking, I always have trouble on where to place Alpharius or the Alpha Legion. And this time, it was no different. We got a fantastic glimpse into the realities of the Legion within the aptly named novel Legion. And unlike some other Primarchs, we got to see a real explanation on why Alpharius and Omegon chose to join Horus's side. Convinced by the Xeno Cabal that the only way to truly defeat Chaos was for Horus to dethrone the Emperor. So as ever with the Alpha Legion, they would become a riddle. Traitors without, loyal within. However, though Alpharius and Omegon would throw their lot in with the traitors, we'd never really see much interaction between them. We never got to see any relationships or even real feuds developed with the other traitor Primarchs. In any meeting amongst the brothers, Alpharius is nearly always silent, or at many times not even physically present. And yes, this all adds to the mystique of the Alpha Legion, but I can't help but feel we missed out on some interesting revelations and development amongst the brothers as a result. For example, Lorgar and Angron's fostering brotherhood within Betrayer, or how Magnus and Perturabo's fond relationship remained throughout. For all the flaws of the traitor Primarchs, we actually did get a fair amount of them interacting with each other, just not when it came to Alpharius. We did get to see just how effective the Alpha Legion and Alpharius can be within Praetorian of Dawn. An absolutely fantastic novel. As well as showing us some great history with Rogel himself, we also got to see the Alpha Legion ambushing the wolves within the novel Scars and Wolf King. However, we tantalizingly missed out on a Russ versus Alpharius duel. In fact, as always, the Alpha Legion are a silent mystery. Like Ferrus, Alpharius would meet his end, perhaps prematurely, in absolutely brutal fashion, at the hands of his brother Rogel. And I say prematurely because there were seeds there of a possible discord amongst the two twins, with Omegon secretly acting against Alpharius and seemingly the traitor cause. Maybe it's a case of what could have been, but had Alpharius not died at that point, we could have maybe ended up with an Alpha Legion civil war, the twin heads of the Hydra going against each other. And man, that would have been awesome. However, it wasn't to be, and for me, it leaves a question begging to be answered. And this was really the end of the Alpharius Omegon story within the Heresy. Omegon would pull the Alpha Legion out of the war, again silently, and we get the occasional Alpha Legion legionary sighting after, but not too much. And so, for me, What makes the Alpha Legion so interesting, what makes them the Alpha Legion, is also in a way what keeps me from placing Alpharius Omegon's journey any higher. The constant secrets, the mystery around everything. With that nature of is it Alpharius, is it not? The appearances are often left to wonder, to the imagination. And so I'm not sure I really know Alpharius and Omegon. I would have loved to get a few more glimpses behind the curtain, to see some more between the twins, see some more of Alpharius firsthand, to really get a grasp of the Primarch he is. The Primarch novel Head of the Hydra is outstanding, with some great brief references to other Primarchs. But even then, is it a lie or is it the truth? The riddle continues. And so for me, Alpharius Omegon's journey has to remain here, for a little too premature ending and too much unknown. In 16th, I have Konrad Curze. Now, Konrad certainly got around in the Heresy. He was present at Istvan, giving us a great scene of him saving Lorgar from their traitor brother Korax, within the novel First Heretic. And after that he was dispatched to take on Lion L. Johnson, out in the darkness of the galaxy, to get the mighty First Legion tied up and out of the picture, which he certainly did. And we had one of the best early Primarch scenes and fights of the Heresy, with L. Johnson and Curze coming face to face. The iconic loyalty is its own reward moment. However, Curze's story and journey, probably out of all the Primarchs, is really separated from his Legion, his own personal fall to insanity. Within Vulcan Lives, we would see his imprisonment and torment of Vulcan in the aftermath of Istvan, as he attempted to break the spirit of the Lord of Drakes, who in turn would spare Konrad, unable to bring himself to kill his brother, really only further pushing Curze down the path to insanity, his obsession that fate is set, a story we'd see evolve throughout his battles with L. Johnson and the Imperium Secundus storyline. Stowing aboard the Invincible Reason to Ultramar, we'd see Konrad wreak havoc across Macragge, going toe-to-toe against both of his brothers, the Lion and Guilliman, but more importantly for him, sowing the seeds of distrust amongst them, seeking to pull them down into the mire, the darkness that he existed in. And with Sanguinius's arrival at the end of the Unremembered Empire, we began to see how truly lost Konrad was, that he wasn't truly committed to Horus's cause, simply a tormented soul. He would come to speak to the angel, to ask his opinion on their father's lies, the angel's view of fate, knowing all too well his brother possessed the same talent as him. And though it's all masked by violence and death, the maddened Night Haunter, you can't help but see the Konrad within, yearning for some form of acceptance. Eventually he would have his spine broken in a final duel against the Lion, and be taken prisoner, which would essentially be the end of his heresy tale. And for me, Konrad's journey is a great one, because not only does he have a huge amount of interaction with his fellow brothers, the brothers on the opposite side, but also because his story really is a journey for him, a true fall from the Primarch he was meant to be, a truly lost and damaged soul. The only thing better would have been if we had a real focused novel from his point of view. However, we still get a fair amount within Unremembered Empire, for example, and his Primarch series novel is surely one of the very best, giving us some fascinating Great Crusade era insights into his mind, but also leading us up to the very end of his story, the entrance of the assassin. So, though Kurz's tale is very unique, one in a way quite separated from the real heresy, for me it's very much a complete journey the Night Haunter goes on. I can't place him any higher as, again, I feel he doesn't really affect the heresy in a lot of ways, more a side story. But it's definitely a great personal tale. But as always everyone, what do you think? In terms of ranking the Primarch's personal journeys and stories within the heresy, do you agree with my placement of Ferrus, Alpharius Omegon and Conrad? Would you have them higher, or perhaps lower? Who do you think I have coming next? And what are your rankings? Remember to try and place your personal favouritism to the side. But as always everyone, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Huge thank you to all my subscribers, your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. If you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But I'll see you all again tomorrow as we continue our Primarch journey rankings.